掌握这个和平，而且呢，他愿意赐这个平安给谁，他就可以赐给谁。
He had already opened the door for anyone who was willing to repent, to join him in his way of living.
他也预备好了这个拯救的这个和平的福音，让那些这个悔改的人可以什么呢？与他和好，在他里面享有这个平安。
See, those who would not follow him, though, had no peace, real peace in their hearts.
那些不跟随羔羊、不跟随耶稣的人，他们心里从内心深处没有真正的终极的平安。
How many people I've talked to said that before I had an emptiness in my heart.
我一生遇到过很多的人，他们做见证的时候都讲到，他们信主之前，他们的心里没有这种平安。
Because God's peace isn't there.
因为上帝的平安没有在他们的心里。
And so, out of that kind of a situation where there was no peace, animosities very easily rise up.
当这个地上没有和平的时候，当人没有平安的时候，那么这个人与人之间的敌意就非常容易产生。
And people killed each other.
然后人与人之间彼此的残杀。
Injustice ruled.
这个不义是占了这个主导的地位。
See, that's what our world is based on.
大家牢记，我们的世界是建立在这个，我们的社会是建立在不义上面的，不是建立在公义上面。天国才是建立在公义上面。
And when he broke, verse 5, when he broke the third seal, I heard the third living creature saying, "Come." And I looked, and behold, a black horse, and he who sat on it had a pair of scales in his hand.
在6章5节说，揭开第3印的时候。这个揭开都是羔羊哈，羔羊揭开第3印的时候，我看见第3个活物说：“你来，我就观看，见有一匹黑马，骑在马上的，手里拿着天平。”
And John heard a voice, as it were, in the center of the 4 living creatures, saying, "A quart of wheat for a denarius, and 3 quarts of barley for a denarius, and do not harm the oil and the wine."
第6节说，我听见在4活物中似乎有声音说：“1钱银子买1升麦子，1钱银子买3升大麦，酒和油，油和酒不可糟蹋。”
You see, the third seal was broken, and a black horse came out.
当我们看见羔羊揭开第3印的时候，黑马出来。
And the Bible doesn't give us any reason why the horse should be black.
这个圣经没有解释，也没有交代说我为什么这个会是一匹黑马哈。
But the one riding on the horse had a pair of scales in his hand.
但是骑黑马的手上有天平。
See, the report is telling us that there was an imbalance in the provision of food. That's what's portrayed here.
这里好像似乎在描述一件事情，在食物供应，在人在这地上这个被供应的时候呢，它是不平衡。
Now, if you look at it carefully, this is what you see.
如果我们仔细的看，我们会看见这样。
There is a shortage of what the poor people live on.
似乎是那些穷人所住的地方呢，这个粮食非常的紧缺。
What the rich use is not harmed.
反过来那些富人所住的，他们倒是当粮油不够的时候，富人没有关系。
It says a quart of wheat sells for a denarius.
他说1升的麦子要卖什么？要卖1钱的银子。
Now a quart of wheat was a day's ration for one person.
在那个时候，1钱的银子是一个人做1天的工，就是1钱银子。
And a denarius was a day's wage for one person.
那所以这1钱的银子呢，就是指说一个人，如果是他工作1天，他所得到的报酬。
So you can see, a man made just enough to feed himself.
意思说，一个人辛苦工作1天，他可以让自己吃饱。
But what would his family eat?
那他既然能吃饱了，那他的家人吃什么呢？
Now there was a little bit better. Barley sold 3 quarts for a denarius.
但是这后面半句就说1000银子买3升大麦。
So if he bought barley, there was a little left over for the rest of his family.
换句话说，如果他用他一天的工钱买了3升大麦的话呢，那除了他吃完以后，他的这个家人呢还可以有的吃。
And you see, it was not famine.
我们反过来看，这不是饥荒，
But there was not an abundance.
但是呢，明显也不是什么呢大丰收。
Then it says the wine and the oil were not to be touched.
他最后一句说什么呢？他说油和酒不可糟蹋。
It was the rich, the prosperous, who could afford these things.
那些油和酒只有什么人呢？那些有钱人、富人，他们才有机会去碰到油和酒。
So you see, there came an imbalance in the distribution of the necessities of life.
所以大家看见，在日常生活供需的时候，有明显的一个不平衡。
Let's look at the history of the world way from the beginning. This is what we have always seen and what we see everywhere.
在上下将近6000年的人类历史当中，我们一直看见这个什么呢？就是这种不公平、不均衡的这个分配。
We're still talking about today. We have these these boxes to put food in to send to the hungry.
我们到今天为止，在这么发达的所谓的资本主义国家里面，我们还是看见你经常需要去捐一些食物放在那里，有穷人要在那里去领去，每一顿饭都要到救济中心去领饭吃。
As to the hungry here in Canada.
那些是什么呢？那些在加拿大挨饿的人。
But there are other people in other parts of the world where in Africa where they live near to the equator. Some years they don't have rain.
在那个说在非洲，他们靠近一些地方是常年不见雨水的地方。
And people have a very hard time. There is famine in parts of the world, but it is not worldwide.
我们看见其实饥荒在这个地上从来就没有间断过，尽管好像还没有出现过全球性的饥荒。
Now the fourth seal.
我们看第4印。
Verse 7. And when he broke the fourth seal, I heard the voice of the fourth living creature saying, "Come."
当我们看在第7节说，羔羊揭开第4印的时候，我听见第4个活物说：“你来。”
And I looked, and behold, an ashen horse, and he who sat on it had the name Death, and Hades was following with him. And authority was given to them over a fourth of the earth, to kill with sword and with famine and with pestilence, and by the wild beasts of the earth.
在第8节说，我就观看，见有一匹灰色马骑在马上的，名字叫做死，阴府也随着他，有权柄赐给他们，可以用刀剑、饥荒、瘟疫、野兽杀害地上1/4的人。
So when the Lamb broke the fourth seal,
当这个羔羊揭开第4印的时候，
John saw a pale horse come out,
约翰就看见一匹灰色的马，
and the rider on it had a terrible name, Death.
骑在马上呢有一个可怕的名字叫做死亡，
And Hades, or sometimes we call it hell, followed after it.
阴府也随着他。这阴府在有的地方，有些人把它翻译成地狱。
Now the rider had no weapon,
这个骑马的没有武器，
but was given authority to cause death by many different ways.
但是呢，这骑马的是有权柄，可以做什么事呢？他可以让很多的人死去，他可以杀害地上1/4的人。
You see, it says to kill with the sword and with famine, and with pestilence, and wild beasts of the earth.
他说可以用不同的方法杀害地上的人，用刀剑啦，用饥荒啦，瘟疫啦，野兽啦，可以杀害地上的人。
Now, ever since the fall, this is the scenario that people have lived under.
这个是自从人堕落以后，这是一种情形，我们在人类历史上充斥每一个人类历史阶段，我们都可以看见的。
In at the very beginning, death came when Cain killed